My name is Cameron Isagacho, and today I will be discussing my topic, which is stress, eustress, and distress. First, let us start off with the first one that I have mentioned, which is stress. Stress, by definition, is a feeling of high emotional and or physical tension. Like an example of which is that when you feel exhausted after a long day of work. And the other side of the spectrum is stress that makes you feel high on joy or a sense of fulfillment. That is what stress is. The feeling of high emotional ten- enjoyment or a feeling of tension in your body and mind. There are other stresses that are also beneficial to you. This can be helpful to your physical and mental well-being. The next part that I will be discussing next is eustress. Eustress is a type of stress that is very much beneficial to your well-being. By definition, it is the positive cognitive response to stress that is healthy or um, gives a person a feeling of fulfillment or other positive feelings. It is the stress that gives you a sense of hope and a sense of vigor. Eustress has also been positively correlated with life satisfaction and well-being. Eustress is a result of these feelings of excitement. Usually, an example of the causes of these eustress is like riding a roller coaster, which can get you excited with watching a scary movie, an anticipation of a first date, or a new job and other excitement causing activities that can get the blood pumping and the adrenaline pumping as well. And the last one in my topic is distress. Distress is the opposite of eustress. It is by definition a sense of extreme anxiety, sorrow, and pain as well. This can be a detriment to your health and can sometimes lead to fatal problems down the road in your life. Causes of these are being in a crowd of people. Another is being worked for long periods of time or losing someone that is closest to you. That is all for my topic. Thank you for listening.
Good day, everyone. My name is Ian Jean Quizon, and I am here to talk about the general stress syndrome. There are three stages in the general stress syndrome. The first stage is the alarm stage. This occurs when we first perceive something as stressful and the body initiates to fight or flight response. This simply means that if a person is going through something in his life, he or she has always had a choice to fight or run from it. Let's say, for example, the students of University of Cebu are struggling with their subject, mathematics. The students has always had an option to study hard to make the mathematics subject easier for them to understand, or the students has always had another option to just give up and surrender. The next stage is the stage of resistance. The acquired adaptation is lost if the individual subject is still exposed to greater stressor. This simply means that if a person is exposed to so much stressor or so much problem in his or her life, he or she adapts quickly and thinks solutions to her or his problems immediately. In the exhaustion stage, the body will die because it has used up all the resources. This simply means that the body is uh, the body is not functioning, or the body dies because of too much burden in his mind. He or she cannot handle the problem anymore. Uh, that's why the person that may 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 occur or may face this
Ways
will
to counter stress.
tend to surrender. I know
Surrender.
there are a lot of ways in countering stress, but I have only chosen 3 techniques that I think is relevant in countering stress. And the first technique that I have chosen is relaxation response. So how can we counter stress through relaxation response? If you have noticed, or if you have might know someone that undergoes stress, that person used to ride his bicycle, or that person goes hiking, or that person goes to the beach in order for him or her to feel relaxed. And the next technique that I have chosen is the physical activity. In the physical activity, the body is the target. If you might have known or notice a person that undergoes stress or suffering from stress, he usually do exercise. He usually do jogging, walking, or something, or some sort of exercise that makes him or her sweat a lot. And the next technique that I have chosen to counter the stress is social support. I think this is the very important or the vital aspect in order for us to counter stress, the social support, because I think that in social support it helps lessen and enlighten us to think for the brighter side of the problem, and to socially support someone to encourage him or her to not give up and see situations and see situations brighter side and think outside of the box.
So good day, sir. I'm Kent V. Villarino, and my topic is all about self-compassion and emotional well-being. So, what is self-compassion? So, self-compassion entails being warm and understanding towards ourselves when we suffer, fail, or feel inadequate, rather than ignoring our pain or flagellating ourselves with self-criticism. So, when this reality is denied or fought against, suffering increase in the form of stress, frustration, and self-criticism. Self-compassion is extending compassion to oneself in instance or perceived inadequacy, inadequacy, failure, or general suffering. So, Christine Neff has defined self-compassion as being composed of 3 main elements: self-kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness. So, self-compassion means treating ourselves with the same warmth, caring, and kindness that we extend to someone we love or deeply care about. So, if they were in similar pain, self-compassion is the ability to turn understanding, acceptance, and love inward. Many people are capable to extend compassion towards others, but it difficult to extend the same compassion towards themselves. In fact, self-compassion can help relieve many mental health concerns such as anxiety or insecurity. So, some examples adapted from the self-compassion scale. So, include giving yourself a tenderness and care you need when you are going through a tough time, trying to understand and show patience regarding to your own preserved personality flaws and being tolerant of your own shortcomings. So, people with a high level of com- compassion demonstrate three behavior. So, first, they are kind rather than judgmental about their own failure or mistake. So, and second, they recognize that failure are a shared human experience. And third, they take a balanced approach and negative emotion when they stumble, stumble or fall short. So, my second topic is emotional well-being. So, what is emotional well-being? Emotional well-being is the ability to produce positive emotion, mood through through thoughts and feeling, and adapt when confronted with adversity and stressful situation. So, emotional well-being allows you to focus on positive and manage the negative emotion and feel you may have in a given situation. So, self-compassion self-compassion takes care of and be kind to your body. Make time for mindfulness. Find new ways to manage stressful anxiety or depress someone with good emotional health and emotional wellness. So is aware of their emotion and has strategies to deal with both everyday situation and traumatic experience, such as losing a loved one, losing a job, or a divorce. So, emotional well-being refers to emotional quality of an individual emotional experiences. So, emotional well-being is influenced by a variety of physiological, demographic, economic, and situated factors or the factors. For example, the onset of the COVID-19 outbreak lowered emotional well-being by 74% China according to a study. So, that's all about my topic, sir, and thank you.
Good day to everyone. My name is Alexandro I. Taganas III from Group 4, and my topic is all about the self-comparison, motivation, and health. In psychology, social comparison theory is one explanation for the tendency we have to make comparisons between ourselves and others. We all compare ourselves to others in our social worlds, whether it is comparing our looks to those of celebrities or our talents with those of our friends, classmates, siblings, co-workers, and etc. Social comparison theory was proposed by psychologist Leon Festinger in 1954, and it proposed that people have an innate desire to evaluate themselves, often in comparison to others. People make all kinds of judgments about themselves, and one of the most important ways that we do this is through social comparison, or analyzing ourselves in relation to others. Example of this is a high school student has just enrolled in a band class to learn how to play the clarinet. She will compare her performance to other students in the class as she evaluates her skills and progress. She may first compare her abilities to those of the other clarinet section members. nothing those who are better than her as well as those who are worse. She may also compare her skills to those of other students who play other instruments. Another example is a basketball player. He may compare himself to the most skilled player of their team. If he discovers that these abilities fall short of those of his peers, he may be motivated to achieve more and improve his skills of basketball. Psychologist Leon Festinger believed that we engage in this comparison process to establish a standard against which we can accurately evaluate ourselves. People learn about themselves through self-comparison by comparing their attitudes, abilities, and traits to those of others. Most of the time, we try to compare ourselves to those in our peer group or who are similar to us. There are two types of social comparison, the upward and the downward self-comparison. So, the first thing is upward self-comparison. This occurs when we compare ourselves to those we believe are better than us. These upward comparisons frequently center on our desire to improve also our current position or level of ability or intelligence. We might compare ourselves to someone who has it better and look for ways to achieve similar results. Example in Tagalog is, ang galing-galing ng top honors namin. Kailangan ko siyang gayahin yung top honors namin, yung maging masipag sa pag-aaral para masali din ako sa top honors at para din sa aking kinabukasan. Next thing is downward self-comparison. This happens when we compare ourselves to others who have it worse than ours, such as negative comparisons are frequently used to make ourselves feel better about our current abilities or characteristics. We may not be great at everything, but we are better off than others. Example in Tagalog about this is like, mas magaling pa ako mag-drawing kaysa sa iyo eh. Kaya kontento na ako sa kakayahan ko. So next is motivation. What is motivation? Motivation is the process by which goal-oriented behaviors are initiated, guided, and maintained. It is what motivates you to take action positively to reach our goals from someone. Motivation is comprised of the biological, emotional, social, and cognitive forces that drives behavior. The term motivation is frequently used in everyday speech to describe why someone does something. It is the impetus of human behavior. Motivation can be used in a variety of ways. It serves as a guiding force for all human behavior. But understanding how it works and the factors that influence it can be beneficial in a variety of ways. Understanding motivation can help you assist in increasing people's efficiency as they work towards goals, assist people in taking action, encourage people to engage health-related activities, assist people in avoiding unhealthy or maladaptive behaviors such as gambling and addiction, assist people in feeling more in control of their lives, increase your overall happiness and well-being. Next is health. What is health? Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being without the presence of disease or illness. The importance of our health is to make up in our everyday goals. To do this, we need to comply these things in order to maintain a good health. A well-balanced diet and regular exercise are required for a healthy life cycle. In addition, one must live in a suitable environment, get enough sleep, and maintain good hygiene. And we must maintain this in order to have a better process of living a good life. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Kent Harvey M. Navarro, and my topic is compassion, self-compassion versus self. So, without further ado, compassion for oneself is essential for the same as compassion for others. Understand what it's like to be fueled by compassion. To have a compassion for others, you must first acknowledge that they are in pain. You can show sympathy as in how awful an impoverished person's situation if you overlook him or her on the street. Compassion entails being impacted by others, people's griefs to the point that your heart is interacts to it. Compassion is means of a suffering with a certain individual. When this happens, you feel a sense of wrath, compassion, and a desire to aid the person who is suffering in some way. Compassion also entails treating others with a compassion and understanding rather than harsh judgment when they are failed to make mistakes. The tremendous agony of the contemporary life is no matter what situation, how accomplished we are, or how excellent parent we are, or an employee or a partner we are, it's never enough to someone constantly seem richer, slimmer, smarter, or more powerful than us, making us feel insignificant. Any type of failure, no matter how big or tiny, is unacceptable. Instead of dismissing our pain and disregarding ourselves with self-criticism, self-compassion means being warm and compassionate towards ourselves when we have suffered. Self-compassionate individual understand that the being flawed, suffering, and having a challenges must be addressed and acceptable. Those who are sympathetic about themselves when they are introduced with an unpleasant situation, rather than becoming furious when life falls below certain threshold. Individuals are often not able to be obtained precisely what they seek. Disappointment at not obtaining that we aspire is usually accompanied by an irrational but perceived feeling of solitude, as if I were the only suffering or making an errors. Humans, on the other hand, all suffer. Being an individual implies the one is mortal, weak and flawed by definition. As a result, self-compassion entails acknowledging that suffering and personal inadequacy are the part of the shared human experience. Something we all know through rather than something exclusive to me. Self-compassion also demands a holistic approach to the negative feelings, guaranteeing that impulses are not ignored and overstated. This balanced position is the result of connecting life's experience to others who are also struggling, also to put his own decisions to context. It also comes with a willingness to openly and extremely or unpleasant emotion, an emotion so that they can be held in active, conscious. Detachment is one confrontational response frame of a consciousness in which of the watches sentiments without deliberately ignoring or reject them. We can be emphatic and disregard our grief of the same moment, at the certain moment awareness,
necessities that we are not enough too much of our emotionless responses, allowing negative reactivity to keep sweep us away.
Hello everyone, I am Jen Belfiamonte. Today I will reporting about self-care. What is self-care? Self-care has been defined as the process of taking care of oneself with behaviors that promote health and active management of illness when it occurs. Individuals engage in some form of self-care daily with food choices, exercise, sleep, and dental care. Food choices. You can improve your health by keeping a balanced diet. You should eat foods that contain vitamins and minerals. This includes fruits, vegetables, whole grains, dairy, and a source of protein. Exercise, example, is improves mood. Physical activity stimulates brain chemicals that leave you feeling happier and more relaxed, providing an emotional lift and reducing stress. Exercise gives everyone a boost and can be especially helpful in alleviating symptoms of depression and anxiety. Example of sleep is unwind before bedtime. Develop a sleep routine, go to bed and get up at approximately the same time each day, even on weekends. Avoid substances with caffeine and alcohol with a few hours of bedtime. Dental care. Example of dental care is brushing your teeth with fluoride toothpaste at least twice a day, flossing your teeth at least once a day, decreasing your intake of sugar, eating a diet high in fruits and vegetables. While the concept of the self-care has received increased attention in recent years, it has ancient origins. Socrates has been credited with founding the self-care movement in ancient Greece, and care of oneself and loved ones has been shown to exist since human beings appeared on Earth. Self-care remains primary of healthcare. Routine self-care is important for generally healthy people, but self-care becomes essential when illness occurs. Chronic illness, example, heart failure, diabetes, high blood pressure, requires behaviors that control the illness, decrease symptoms, and improve survival, such as medication adherence and symptoms monitoring. An acute illness like an infection, example, COVID, requires the same types of self-care before required of people with a chronic illness. But the medication adherence and symptom monitoring behaviors associated with an acute illness are typically short-lived. Routine health maintenance self-care behaviors that individuals engage in, example, adequate sleep, are still required of this dealing with acute or chronic illness. For the majority of people with a chronic illness, time spent having that illness managed by a health professional is vastly outweighed by time spent in self-care. It has been estimated that most people with chronic illness spend only about 0.001% or 10 hours per year of their time with a healthcare provider. Benefits of routine self-care in generally healthy populations include prevention of illness and comparatively better quality of life. In people with chronic illness, self-care is associated with fewer symptoms, fewer hospitalizations, better quality of life, and longer survival, and compared to individuals in whom self-care is poor. Self-care is a partial solution to the global rise in healthcare cost that is placed on government worldwide. A lack of self-care in terms of personal health, hygiene, and living conditions is referred to as self-neglect. The use of caregivers and personal care assistants may be needed. There is growing body of knowledge related to these home care workers. Why is it self-care is important? Self-care is important because it engaging in a self-care routine has been clinically proven to reduce or eliminate anxiety and depression, reduce stress, improve concentration, minimize frustration and anger, increase happiness, improve energy, and more. These are some examples of self-care: physical self-care, mental self-care, and spiritual social self-care. Physical self-care examples are eat a healthy meal, engage in exercise, go for a walk, drink water, practice good sleep hygiene. And mental self-care examples are practice mindfulness, take a break, play video games, listen to music. And the examples of spiritual social self-care are pray, call, text a friend, connect with nature, meditate, engage in self-reflection. That's it